Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
It happened on a quiet Thursday morning, the kind of morning that shouldn't have passed unnoticed. I had climbed onto a chair to reach the top shelf, foolishly thinking 63 was still young enough to move like 30. The wobble came first, then the sickening tilt. I remember the sound my body made when it hit the tile. A hard, hollow crack, head first, then hip. Pain shot through me like lightning, white-hot and blinding. Then darkness. When consciousness crept back, it dragged agony with it. My leg throbbed viciously. My head pounded in deep, rhythmic waves. I tried to rise. My arms trembled uselessly beneath me. The chair lay overturned beside me like some mocking witness. "Please, not like this," I whispered to the empty kitchen. I looked at the clock in the kitchen. It turns out I had been unconscious for a whole 40 minutes. My cell phone had fallen from my pocket, far across the floor, screen cracked, utterly unreachable. So I began to crawl, inch by inch, dragging my broken leg behind me. Every movement cut deeper. The hallway seemed to stretch longer with each pull of my arms. Finally, breathless, shaking, I reached the landline. I called Dylan first, then Rebecca, then Aaron. Each call rang, and rang, and rang. No answer, not one. Fear pooled in my stomach. Was this how people died in their own homes, quietly, unnoticed, waiting for a voice that never came? As the room spun around me, I pressed my cheek to the cool floor, whispering a name I hadn't yet realized would become my lifeline. "Layla, please, pick up." Somewhere in the distance, beyond the ringing in my ears, hope flickered. A hook in my mind whispered, "If they don't answer now, what happens when she finally learns the truth?" The landline slipped from my fingers as I lay there, listening to the minutes crawl past like heavy, stubborn footsteps. Minute 1, they probably missed the call. Minute 5, they'll see the missed calls. Minute 7, maybe they're driving or busy. Minute 10, they know, they're choosing not to answer. By minute 15th, the truth pressed down harder than the pain in my skull. My own children were leaving me alone in fear. I stared at the ceiling, trying to swallow the rising panic. The world blurred. My breath came shallow and fast. I had given them everything: birthdays, scraped knees, school plays, heartbreaks. I had been the first voice they ran to. Now there was only silence. Until a knock at the front door. Quick, urgent. "Shannon?" Layla's voice cut through the air like a lifeline. "Are you home?" I tried to call back, but it came out a broken gasp. She must have heard something, because moments later she burst in, her eyes widening at the sight of me on the floor. "Oh my God, Shannon." She knelt beside me, her hands warm around mine. "How long have you been here?" 60 minutes, a whole hour, I whispered, tears finally spilling. I called them. None of them answered. Her jaw tightened, not with judgment, but with a fierceness I hadn't earned yet. "I saw your call," answered it, "but you were silent." So sensing something was wrong, I rushed over to you. "I'm here now. You're not alone." She called the ambulance, stayed with me as paramedics lifted me onto the stretcher, and held my hand all the way to the hospital. In that moment, through the haze of pain, a quiet question echoed in my mind. Why did the woman next door run to me faster than the 3 children I raised? And the more I thought about it, the more I feared the answer. 3 days after surgery, the fog of pain medication began to thin, and reality sharpened like glass. The first visitor wasn't any of my children. It was Layla, carrying a bag with clean clothes and my favorite mint tea. She stayed until the doctor confirmed my concussion and broken leg would keep me off my feet for weeks. When she finally left for work, the room felt heavier, too quiet. That's when the door swung open. Dylan entered with Rebecca close behind. Aaron trailed them, distracted by his phone. Their faces weren't worried, just inconvenienced. "Mom," Dylan said, barely glancing at my cast, "we saw your calls. We were busy." Rebecca nodded as if this excused everything. I mean, it was Thursday morning. I swallowed the sting. I thought I was dying on that floor. Aaron finally looked up, uncomfortable. "Glad you're okay. Anyway, we should talk." He exchanged a look with Dylan, something unspoken, something sharp. Rebecca stepped closer. "Your house is too big for you now. Have you thought about selling? It'd solve a lot of things." A chill crawled up my spine. A lot of what things? Dylan cleared his throat. Well, finances, investments. We could help manage the money, make sure it's used properly. I stared at them, my children, who didn't ask how long I was unconscious, didn't ask if I was scared, didn't ask if I'd eaten. Just the house, the money. Layla had cried when she saw me broken on the floor. My children? They saw an opportunity. My voice shook as I said, I need to rest. They exchanged irritated glances, murmured vague promises to talk later, and left as quickly as they arrived. The door clicked shut. And for the first time, I wondered whether the fall had revealed something more painful than injury. A truth I had been too afraid to face. The night before my discharge, sleep wouldn't come. Pain pulsed through my leg, but something deeper pulsed through my heart, grief. Not for my injury, but for the people I had raised who no longer saw me as a mother, only as a resource. Layla had brought me a stack of blank stationery, just in case you need to write anything down. She didn't know how much I needed it. I began with Dylan. You asked about my house before you asked about my health. I needed your presence, you offered judgment. I called your name as I lay on the floor. You never came. My vision blurred with tears. Next was Rebecca. Your message, busy week, hurt more than my fall. I waited 60 minutes, praying the next ring would be your voice. It never was. I pressed a hand to my mouth to keep from sobbing. The last letter was for Aaron. I know you didn't mean to be distant, but absence hurts just the same. I needed a son. Instead, I got silence. When I finished, the 3 envelopes lay in a row, small, pale, devastating. As I sealed the last one, Layla peeked inside. You okay? I nodded shakily. These aren't punishments, Layla, they're truths. She rested a warm hand on mine. Then let them be heard. I have a big favor to ask you, Layla. Take these envelopes with letters to my children and leave them on the porch. 2 hours later, Layla delivered the letters to their recipients. This wasn't the end of something. This was the beginning. I had been home for barely an hour when the knock came, sharp, rapid, impatient. My children filed in as if they were entering a courtroom they intended to control. Dylan spoke first. We got your letters. Dramatic, Mom. Let's talk about the trust. Rebecca crossed her arms. You can't make decisions like this alone. We need to handle your estate responsibly. Aaron added, yeah, before something else happens. Something else, like me nearly dying. I straightened in my chair. The trust is finalized. Dylan's face reddened. Finalized? With who? Layla stepped from the kitchen, steady as a pillar. With me, because I was the one who answered her call. Rebecca's mouth fell open. Everything? To a neighbor? I met her gaze, unblinking. To the person who stayed with me in the ambulance, who held my hand, who didn't mention money once. Silence scorched the room. You're making a mistake, Dylan snapped. No, I said softly. I'm correcting one. They stormed out, no apology, no attempt to understand. Just the slam of a door closing on a bond long dead. Layla approached, voice gentle. How do you feel? I exhaled, finally free. Light, I whispered, as if I'm stepping into a life that was waiting for me. And in that moment I realized, they didn't just lose an inheritance, they lost their mother.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.